Hello, my name is Isaiah Woodsman. This is my fourth speech of the year 2020. It is currently 8:57 a.m. Let's get started. I'm going to be speaking of a game known as Terraria, specifically the two biomes known as the Corruption and the Crimson. To start off, the Crimson, or the Corruption I mean, is an environment that spreads decay and death. The biome has a dark purplish tint in color and leaves ashes where it goes. The way it spreads is that it will infect an animal. It will slowly kill an animal slowly, such as how a fungal infection could. And once it does that, it will then use the animal's corpse as a beacon point where it begins. It starts to spread through the grass and water, infecting any plants and any other type of animal around it. To create things that it uses to spread itself to help furthermore, it infects different types of insects, mutates them, enlarges them, and makes them do its bidding for it. The corruption itself is dangerous, but the thing is about it is that it is very weak compared to the Crimson. While it spreads death and decay, it doesn't have that much of a brain almost, because of the fact that it's just raw and decay. It just spreads through that. The Crimson, on the other hand, is the complete opposite of the corruption. It represents unbridled life. If it were to exist in real life, it would literally assimilate everything it comes across. The way it spreads is very gruesome in its own way, because it infects an animal through a pod-like structure that then excretes a airborne virus dust almost when disturbed. And once this virus has infected an animal, the virus will cause the animal to stay in an area and do its bidding, somewhat like how the type of fungi the cordyceps does to ants or different other types of insects. It'll control its host. After about a day of this process, it will start to cause the host to grow tumors in the abdominal region until the um until the host li- literally bursts due to severe bloating. Once this happens, the crimson will spread via roots almost. It spreads through roots. It will infect everything. It assimilates things that it comes in contact with. Any animals and anything after the initial host are then either consumed by the crimson, or they just assimilated and then they become its minions in a way. The Crimson is a hive mind of sorts, because where the initial host starts, a thing known as a blood nest starts, which is a large tumor-like thing that reaches down hundreds of feet into the ground with 5 different other chambers that lead to these things known as the Crimson Hearts. They're the things that keep the Crimson alive. You destroy the hearts, it will unleash a guardian of sorts known as the Brain of Cthulhu, which is the ringmaster of sorts of the Crimson. It will attack you, but you could defeat it. Once that happens, the Crimson will really not do a lot until you leave it alone for a while. Then it'll start to spread again, and that's when you have to really fight it, because it spreads faster than the corruption, and it's a lot stronger. The different monsters that are in it, let's say, face monsters, for example, they're humans that died in the Crimson, but the Crimson kept them alive and contorted their features and made them more dangerous faster without really much of a brain, but the Crimson controls them. So, yeah. When compared, the Corruption and Crimson's philosophical meanings, are somewhat different yet somewhat the same. While the corruption represents the decay and death, and crimson represents um, life that just has no respect for any other life, they can become extremely dangerous. The corruption can represent like the Black Plague, for example, decay, death, simple things like that. And the crimson represents life that, well, like I said, has no respect for other life. It is very similar to cancer. It grows and grows and grows and never really stops if left unchecked. Another important factor is the game itself, or the player. The player holds a seat of both good and evil in a way, because while the game of Terraria, while you play, is mostly a boss rush game, you can really decide on how you let the game play out. Well, such as you can decide to not have the Crimson and Corruption and completely attack them right off the bat and not allow them to spread whatsoever, or you can leave them be and wait for them to start spreading. And that's when the problem occurs, is when that happens. You could also be a quest hunter, do things for the NPCs, which are non-player characters. For those who don't understand what NPC stands for, it's a non-player character. You can do quests for them, get them items, get paid, things like that. Just be a, what's the word? Uh, well, I'm just gonna say quest hunter. You could also be a bounty hunter of sorts by taking out every one of the bosses and getting all their achievements, things like that, and pretty much eradicating quote unquote all evil in the game. You could also work on being a mayoral almost type person by creating a town that's like fit for every person, making every NPC as happy as they possibly can. You could set up electricity everywhere and be like that and stuff like that. Like, it's interesting to think that you can do such things like that. Anyways, thank you for this. For listening to my speech, and yeah, I do not know when my next speech will be. Probably really soon. But thank you. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.